name's Andrea. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to be here. And in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about how you can find out if you are on the right path. Because I think we do all get to a point where we start questioning ourselves and we start questioning our trajectory in life. So in this video, we're going to be talking about that. And I want to make a couple different points that I hope they serve to you as a guidance so you can find out your specific path. And the first thing that I want to say is there is no universally valid answer. There is no one size fits all in life because we have all come here with a specific purpose for a specific reason. And there are specific experiences that we want to have. And even though physically, the physical experience might seem similar from, let's say, my life to somebody else's life, even though the outside looks similar, I personally might take different actions and make different interpretations on the events going on in my life than somebody else, which is gonna make the whole experience as a whole very different. And I want to say this first because we live in a society that tells us there is a specific recipe that if you follow is gonna give you happiness. From a very young age, we are taught, you gotta get good grades in school because this way you can get to a very nice university, which is gonna land you in an amazing job, which is gonna solve all of your problems. And many people get to that age where they've been through university, they now have a career, they're getting paid good money, but they're not happy. They don't see themselves in what they do. And it's a burden for them to be waking up every single day to going to a place where you don't belong. Which takes me to my next point, which is introspection. Analyze yourself and ask yourself, what are my values? What path do I think I'm trying to follow? Forget about what everybody says. Forget about what your family says, what society says, your coworkers think, and so on. Now I am talking directly to you because your best teacher and your best leader in life is actually yourself. And we do all know what we are meant to be doing in this physical life. We always do. We always have this knowledge. We are just not aware of it consciously. It's just like when you're going to sleep at night and you might have a dream, but you wake up the next morning and you have no idea what it was. But you have this feeling that you had a dream. You know what your path is. You know what you want in life. What are your goals for this experience? You are just not consciously aware of it because all of the social conditioning that we all go through while growing up. So besides questioning yourself and trying to dig deep in your subconscious to get these answers to the surface, how else are you gonna figure this out? The universe, and who knows me personally, knows that I'm always saying the universe is always looking for ways to communicate with us. We just need to be open to have that connection, that communication. And how does the universe communicate with us? It does so through something called synchronicities. And that is when, let's say, you kind of have an idea of what your path in life is. Let's say you wanted this human experience to be related to serving others. You want to learn compassion and you enjoy helping others. You feel like you are so grateful for having the ability to do something for others, and that makes you feel good. And so because you have this perspective on life, you have dislikes and dislikes, you might want to try being a nurse. I'm just giving an example. If this is what you want in life, and if this would be a good fit for you, for your personal experience, the universe is going to give you a sign that this is the path that you should take. Maybe you are thinking about it and then you start talking about it with a friend or with your family. Then the universe is going to give you a sign. Maybe you see an advertisement for a nursing school, or maybe someone else comes to you and is like, hey, I started doing this recently and I think it's really awesome. Another way that the universe can communicate to you through synchronicities is by using numerology. Every single number has its meaning, and there's people who knows this better than me, but if you keep seeing a certain numbers all the time, 111, 222, 1111, this is a sign and you should look that number up because it's probably gonna give you some guidance of any way. So this communication is constantly happening, and there is no specific way through which does happen. You just have to be open to see how your personal experience is. So the next point that I want to make is always follow your heart and not your ego. Because as I was saying, on a soul level, you do always have the answers, and you always have the ability to reach those answers while you are in physical form. And it is actually known that we are talking about the heart. It is actually known that the heart has a very similar neuron system as our brain does. Our heart literally has its own memory independently from your brain. And we're always feeling this. We're just getting it confused with what our ego thinks it wants. Remember that your ego is the character that you identify yourself with, which is created by what society, your parents, your culture, your religion, and so on has told you that you are. But the difference is that what your ego wants, it's not always gonna be actually what you need, what your soul is actually looking for. And as I said, I think one of the most important things in life is to follow your heart, because nothing is gonna make you more unhappy than spending your entire physical existence doing something that you're not passionate about, doing something that makes you drag yourself out of bed every single morning to get done. The next thing that I want to mention is speak up your mind, speak up your feelings. And speaking up your mind is gonna give you a great insight on whether you are on the good path or not. So don't be afraid of saying yes if you feel like something could be a good fit for you. If you feel simply drawn to something, you don't know why, but you just feel like you are pulled to do this thing. And in the same way, don't be afraid to saying no to what you feel it's not for you. And human existence is temporary and it's very short. So if you're thinking, well, I think I want to do this, but I'm afraid of what others are gonna think of my decisions. And I'm gonna stop you right here. Imagine yourself at the end of your life and think about what would you feel like you would like to have done. Do you want to have any regrets? What would those regrets be? Start thinking about these things because it's gonna give you great insight on what your path is and whether if you are actually right now on your path or not. The next thing that I want to mention, and I really want you to be aware of this because it's important. Stagnation is also a form of progress. We do all face moments in life where we feel stuck, we feel like nothing is moving. We try to do something to get ourselves in a different space physically or mentally, but it's just not happening. And I want you to imagine this. You know how an onion has different layers? Imagine your physical body as the very inner layer. And as you're growing outside, you have your emotional body, you have your emotions, your thoughts, you have your astral body. And I want you to be aware that all these different bodies of yours have their own things to deal with. And it's very important to keep it balanced on all levels. Your emotions are very important, your mental health is so very important, and you are doing many other things in other realms other than what you know physically. So the moments that you are just blocked, you're stuck physically, remember that it's the inner layer. That means that you're actually doing work on some other level. You are getting your emotions together, you're getting your thoughts together. You're working on different things which take time. Your subconscious mind, while you feel like you're in a stagnation, is working things out, is assimilating information, is processing something. And after you've done this processing, this work on other areas, there is many times that you start growing, things start moving, and so fast and so quickly. And I'm saying this in a positive way. This is because after this stagnation process, you are ready to move on the next step of your life, of your physical existence. So you are never really holding still. There is always something moving constantly, whether you realize it or not. So what you can do during this time where you're stuck, even though you are not really stuck, you can take care of yourself, pamper yourself, treat yourself well, take care of your body, because I promise you, when it's gonna be your time to move on, because you've done all the internal work and all the healing and all the other things that you are not aware of, you're gonna feel so strong and so pulled in a certain direction. The next point that I want to talk about is that I want you to learn how to follow your instinct. And I'm talking now about your intuition. I was saying earlier that we always know what our path is, in which direction to go, and whether something is a good fit for us or not. We're just not aware of this consciously, but we do get insight, because as human beings, we have this amazing mechanism called the chakra system. We have 7 energy centers, 7 chakras that are like a tool that enable us to read energy. And I want you to imagine this scenario. Somebody is entering the room that you are in, and you don't know this person, you have never seen them before in your life, but you feel that this person is nervous, is very agitated, and has definitely something going on in their head. Again, you don't know them, but you feel their energy. And in the same way, we do always get a little bit of an insight on what's happening in our life. Many times we just get it confused with our ego. So that's why I was saying earlier, it's very important for us to learn to make the difference between what we truly want on a soul level, what our heart tells us, what our intuition is telling us, and what our ego wants. Because intuitively, you always know. And I know for some people that this whole intuition and psychic abilities thing seems so science fiction, but this is an extremely natural thing. and you have felt it and you do every single day, as I was saying in the example with the energy. So your intuition is always gonna tell you. Let's say you find a job because you need that extra money, but it's not a good fit for you. You are gonna feel that something is off about that place. And even if you ignore it and you still go to that place, you're eventually not gonna last long. Not because you do something wrong, but because the experience is gonna happen in such a way that you're gonna have to leave. So even when you feel like you're off track, that is because the direction that you're trying to go is not meant for you. This brings me to the next point that I want to talk about, which is nothing is set in stone. Even though there are some things that we set up before we have this physical experience, before we actually incarnate in this body, the way that the situation is gonna work out always depends and changes upon your decisions right now. Because as human beings, we have this ability called free will. And the way I can explain this to you is, imagine that you're going to a psychic and he or she gives you a reading. The way that person is gonna tell you whatever you're asking is by reading your own energy in that specific moment. That's why many times, if let's say you were said something but then it turns out to not happen the way they were saying, that is because your energy has changed. And change is something inevitable in life, because it takes us to all these experiences that are meant to help us to get to the right path, are meant to help us gain some knowledge, some insight that is gonna serve us later on in our life. But not all experiences that we go through are meant to stay. And I know there's this eternal question that we always have: what if? What if I would have done this instead of that? And I want to tell you that there is a bigger plan for your life other than what you think it's good for you. And the changes going on in your life are meant to take you as close to that path as possible. So always be open to the experience. And this is my next point. Experience brings awareness. The only way you can learn a lesson is by experiencing yourself, because otherwise you would just imagine how that certain experience feels like, but you wouldn't know for sure. So be playful with life and be open to experiences coming your way. And be actually willing to enjoy it. Don't take it so seriously. It's a temporary experience. And the last thing that I want to mention is it's not always going to be easy. And being on the right path is not always going to be easy. Many times it's exactly the opposite. Your experience, your path stretches your comfort zone, which will allow you to grow. That's where growth actually comes from that stretch, that expansion in your comfort zone. When we are first doing something that we are not used to, that it's out of our comfort, is gonna feel scary. It's gonna feel like maybe this is not good for me. I don't know how to handle it. What do I do? But with the experience, you're gonna get awareness. You're gonna get that stretch and you're gonna grow from it. So even though it's not gonna be easy, it's gonna feel right. You're gonna feel like, well, you know, I think this is difficult because I've never done this before and da-da-da, but I feel good doing this. I think it might be actually a good experience. I think it's gonna take me in a good place. So you're gonna feel right about it. You're Intuition is gonna give you a good vibe. Your heart is gonna pull you in the same direction. Synchronicities are gonna appear, giving you the same signals. I'm gonna stop this video here. I know maybe the answers that I have given you in this video are maybe not as specific as you were hoping for, but again, there is no one size fits all. I am not trying to give you very specific answers that might not actually fit your personal path, but I'm trying to give you guidelines so you can find the best reasons for yourself. Again, the best teacher that you can possibly have in this lifetime is yourself. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. You can also share this video with friends and family, maybe it's gonna help them too. So again, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next time. Light and love.